Hello and welcome to our parent information session today. My name is Daphne. I am the team leader of student advisors here at UNSW Global, and my aim today is to provide you with some information about your child's life while at UNSW Global and some of the services that will be available to them. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the Bedegal people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We would like to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Now, this is something you may not be familiar with, but it is traditional in Australia to acknowledge traditional owners, and it is something that your child will experience when they go to large meetings, gatherings or lectures at UNSW Global, UNSW and in Australia throughout the country. Now, first of all, I'd like to introduce you to the UNSW Student Services. So Student Services and Student Support, where I work, we provide practical support to students, helping a lot with inquiries, any general questions they may have. As you can see, there are contact details here. You can email us, call us. We are open Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 5, Sydney time. We help with a varying range of requests if they want to chop or change classes, any questions about accessing UNSW services, submitting any forms, or finding out about excursions or activities. Our student services team can help. Now, as stated, I am the team leader of our student advisor team. This is my wonderful team, and we provide support and welfare support to students, be they under 18 or over 18. We do work particularly close with our under 18 students, but I would like to ask you to watch a video now which details some of the things we do and how we have supported some students. Thank you. So yes, as you can see in the video, we do provide a varying range of support to students. And the main thing is we're here to help. There's no such thing as a silly question. So please do encourage your child to get in contact with us if they have any questions or concerns. And the main ways for your child to be able to contact us is via the email address here, student.support@unswglobal.unsw.edu.au. They can call us, or another alternative is to use Moodle. Moodle is the online learning platform which your child will be using throughout their studies. There's a section here called Student Consultations. There's a Student Advisor Appointment section. They go there, select a day and a time appropriate for them, and at that time a student advisor will give them a call, or we can arrange a Zoom meeting or a video call. The under 18 care program, for student advisors, this is a large area of our work. We do work very closely with our under 18 students, and if your child is currently under 18 and studying with us, if they are in Sydney at the moment, they would be staying in approved accommodation, be that homestay or be that residential colleges. You may have heard of Unilodge and Urbanist. We do ask that our under 18 students follow some rules. I'll explain those to you shortly. And as I said, we are in regular contact. Your child will be expected to have regular meetings with a student advisor. Those meetings are an opportunity for your child to ask any questions and raise any concerns that they have. It's just a chat. We are here to support. Those meetings are for students who are in Australia and also for our students who are currently studying at home. Now, as I said, if your child is in Sydney and under 18, they will be following some rules. So these rules are written as we would say them to your child. So I'll just quickly go through them for you. The first one being that they have to attend an under 18 orientation session. Now, while we are online, I have recorded a session in a similar manner, and your child is expected to watch that session. They will have to attend under 18 meetings. So within the next week or so, 1 to 2 weeks, your child will be getting an email arranging an appointment with a student advisor. The first meeting is very much to make sure everything is okay, that they're settling in, and if they have any questions. And again, those meetings are for students who are currently in Sydney or for students who are at home. And for those who are here, like I said, they need to stay in approved accommodation. And we have a curfew. We do require that our students, under 18 students, are home at 10 o'clock every night. If they are not, then either their host or the student accommodation which they're staying in will notify us, and we will contact your son or daughter to ensure that they are okay and that they are able to get home safely. A general rule is if your son or daughter wants to have a friend over, that they ask first. It's about showing respect, and this is for during the day or overnight. We do require that they check their emails regularly because we student advisors email, and there are a lot of updates, academic and about activities that are going on. So it's really good if they get into the habit of checking their email on a daily basis. Which requires number 8, 7, and 8. 7 is that they have their personal details updated, and they can do this on the student portal. Now your son and daughter will know what the student portal is, and that is where they enter their personal information. We also require that we have up-to-date contact information for emergency contacts, which is usually their parents. So an overseas phone number and an email address, home address, is very important and useful for us to have. With under 18 students, we do contact parents from time to time. So it's very useful that we have that information. Now again, number 9 is more for students who would be in Sydney, and it's more for a time when we're not social distancing and there are restrictions on travel. But students are allowed to request if they want to stay somewhere else overnight than our approved accommodation. They can't just do it. They could never get on a plane from Sydney and go to Melbourne. That is something we would need to know. We would need to know who they're traveling with. And generally, we're not okay with them going and traveling with their friends. Parents, yes, an aunt or uncle, and maybe a brother or sister who are over 21. But we would be contacting you as their emergency contact, their parent, to ensure that you are okay with that as well. And they do need to request that. And finally, number 10 is if your child is going to be under 18 when they go to UNSW, we do have a transition process, and we need to ensure that they have accommodation for when they start at UNSW, and that if they're going home or if they're staying in Sydney, they need to let us know. But again, this is something we'd be contacting your son or daughter about, and we would be talking them through that process. So when do we contact parents? If there's an emergency. If your son or daughter is in an accident, we will be contacting you. We'll also contact you if there are any attendance issues. We inform you when they get semester 1 results. And if any issues, anything serious comes up, any welfare concerns, we will contact you to discuss. So that means we do need to have your contact details. If you need to contact them, if you change your phone number, you can email us at student.support. Okay. For you as a parent, if you want to contact UNSW Global, now, due to Australian privacy laws, we won't be able to give you information about your child unless your child is under 18. If they're over 18, they need to provide written consent that we can give you their personal information. Or again, if there's a welfare concern, if we're concerned about your child's welfare and safety, that is when we can give information. All right, a big one, your child's attendance. It is their responsibility. Attendance is important. Now, while we are in an online learning environment, your son or daughter will become familiar with the term checking in. This is where they need to go into Moodle and they need to check in, tick a box every day before 10 o'clock. It's very important that they keep track of their studies and their learning, and they must attend 100% of their classes. So it is being monitored when they do attend their tutorials in particular. Okay, so this attendance stems into visa requirements. So if your child is in Sydney at the moment, or when they come, they must have a valid visa at all times. If they change address, they need to update it via the student portal. It is a requirement of their student visa. They must achieve satisfactory course progress, and they must have valid health insurance throughout their studies. Any questions about your child's visa or any changes to your child's visa should be directed towards the Department of Home Affairs, and these are their contact details. Now, online learning, it is a new learning environment for your child, and it is similar, it's the same if your child is in Sydney or if they are studying offshore. So there are daily check-ins, there are live classes with teachers delivering lectures. Lectures are recorded. Each subject has lots of online resources and self-study materials which your child will have access to. We have specific consultations. Now these are at set times throughout the week where your child can book in to have a little bit of one-on-one time with the teacher and ask any questions they may have about their course. If there's specific content that was covered in the week and they're not quite sure on it, they should be going to consultations. There's lots of peer-to-peer engagement and learning support available to your child. We have study club, we have consultations, we have conversation club. Most of the classes also have discussion forums where they can write and ask questions and a teacher will reply and give feedback. So your child's teachers, I would describe it as academic questions, academic feedback, questions about their homework. If they're having any issues joining online, and if they miss a class because their internet connection is poor, they should contact their teachers. Now, they will have their teachers' contact details on their course page in Moodle. So it is available and they are encouraged to contact their teachers and to ask questions if they have any. Okay, so very briefly, the online learning environment is very difficult and you may be wondering how you can support your child. Now, I think just a few practical things, especially if your child is just starting with us, is remind them of the daily check-in. That's something they need to get into the habit of doing that, and they should do it before they then go and join their classes. So the ideal is that they're doing it before 10 a.m. Make sure that there's no internet connection issues. So in the first week, test everything out. If your child is having issues, they need to contact our IT team and help them with their access. They're going to be getting their timetable, and it can take students some time to get to know their timetable, so help them and learning to understand that and how to join classes. Just make sure that they're confident doing that. Encourage them to seek feedback from their teachers, ask questions. Like I said, it's encouraged. We encourage students to ask questions. It's wonderful. Teachers love when students ask questions. Remind them that there is academic support available if they feel they need it. If they say, "Oh, I'm finding math difficult," you can say, "Have you joined the math consultation? Your teacher might be able to help you." Some students really benefit from having a study planner as well. They can make an appointment with a student advisor. This is something we can talk them through the process of as well. So if they're worried, if they have questions, please ask them to come and make an appointment to talk to a student advisor. We're always willing to help. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to just tell you about some of the services that your child has access to as a UNSW Global student. These are some of the wonderful services available at UNSW. Okay. So the health service, again, this is probably for mainly when your child will be here with us in Sydney, if they're not already. We do have a health service. Student advisors can help your son or daughter make an appointment if they want, but it is available to them. Qualified doctors, psychologists, mental health nurses, they are there to offer support. And our counselling service as well is located next to the health service. And as a student advisor, these are two services that I do work quite closely with. We can make referrals or make appointments on behalf of the student if they so wish. So health cover. When your child is on a student visa and they are in Sydney, a part of that is that they have overseas health cover. Now, a lot of our students are with Medibank, the health insurer. And once they are here in Australia, they will need to activate it. So they would need to go to the Medibank website, put in their contact details, and then what happens is Medibank send a card just like that to your son or daughter's Australian address. We advise students keep it in their wallet at all times, because if they do need to go to the doctor, or if they do have an accident and end up in hospital, the hospital needs that information. And for example, if your son or daughter is with Medibank and they do go to the health service, if they present that card for a general consultation, they won't need to pay anything. It's covered under Medibank. So it's very useful to have. So please encourage your son or daughter to activate that card once they're here. UNSW also have disability services. Now, life circumstances or a medical condition or a disability may mean that your son or daughter needs some additional support to help them through their studies. We, as a student advisor, this is something I work with quite frequently, and it's to support your son or daughter. So please, if you feel that your son or daughter, or if your child feels that they may benefit from having education adjustments put in place, please get them to get in contact with us. We can talk them through the process of getting those adjustments put in place. Again, UNSW has security services. This is a 24-hour service, 7 days a week, and they're a wonderful, supportive team. One of the nicest things I think that they provide is if your son or daughter was studying late in the library and it was dark outside and they didn't feel comfortable walking from the library to the bus stop, they can call the UNSW security. They'll come, pick them up, drop them to the bus stop. And they do have a Stay Safe at UNSW app. We do encourage all students to download that. Now, university is meant to be fun and engaging and a great life experience where students make lifelong friends. And at UNSW, student life is ARC. That's the name. And there are clubs and societies that cover a wide range of interests. Most faculties would have a club or a society as well. You have the engineering faculty, the science faculty. So if your child has an area of interest and would like to make friends with like-minded people, joining a club or society is definitely the way to go, and joining ARC is for free. Okay, so with COVID-19, you may be wondering where UNSW is getting all of their advice, and we are getting it from the New South Wales government and the Australian government. UNSW also has a very up-to-date website with information about what is happening at UNSW. So if you are interested or want to know what's happening within New South Wales, I do recommend that you check out both of these websites for very up-to-date, relevant information. These are just some important phone numbers which your child may need throughout their stay at UNSW Global or UNSW. So please encourage your child to take note of these. Maybe save a few of the numbers in their phones and take note of the email addresses as well. Now, we also have a very specific accommodation team at UNSW Global. This is the wonderful accommodation team. We have Quintin, the team leader, and Jess and Carla are our accommodation officers. Now, they can provide support even if your child is studying at home at the moment, back in their home country, but are wondering about options when they eventually come to Sydney. So if your child is here, if they're overseas and they just have accommodation questions or inquiries, they can get in touch. Accommodation information, if you're over 18, they can provide a lot of information about accommodation options in Sydney. They also work with the under 18 accommodation, so work very closely with our homestay providers, Unilodge and Urbanest, for example, as well. They give recommendations, legal information as well, and if your child has any issues with their accommodation while in Sydney, they should definitely get in touch with our accommodation team. Very quickly, we do recommend, if your child is in Sydney and living in private rental accommodation, if they do not have a written agreement, we do encourage them to have a written agreement such as the one provided on screen. Now, this is to offer both the landlord and your child with protection. We do recommend that they have that. And again, if that is something that your child needs, please encourage them to get in touch with our accommodation team. So you can get legal help. Your child, if needed, could get legal help from some of these services which are in Sydney. And we can definitely put your child in contact with those should they need it. So to book an appointment, same as with our student advisors, there is an accommodation email address as seen on screen, or again, they can book it in via Moodle. The same thing, go to the the student consultation page, and then there is an accommodation section. Okay, so pre-orientation, I'm just now going to talk you through some of the things and activities that your child will be doing over the next few days and in their orientation day as well. So very quickly, all of this information is sent to your child's email. So please make sure that they're checking it regularly. If they're not getting emails and they're due to be starting, get them to contact our inquiries team on the email address in the corner there. So there's going to be a session on an IT starter. So they're going to be sent an email on how to get set up with all of the IT things, okay? And getting set up with student services and IT, this will be a Zoom meeting, and it's to help prepare them with their studies, okay? And they're going to walk them through the steps to start their course. And it's a great opportunity for your child to ask any questions that they have. Studying online and well-being, this will be delivered by the student support team. It's usually delivered by a student advisor. And it's looking at your child's well-being when studying online, because we understand that mental health, their well-being during such unprecedented times, it is something that we need to factor and take into consideration. So it's just some useful tips on how to manage online learning and to take care of yourself. Activities and engagement socials. So there's a live webinar where they can discuss all of the events that UNSW Global students can take part in. And it will tell us a little bit more about the volunteer program, which we do have. So students at UNSW, if they would like to volunteer, they can definitely get involved with this session. It will explain about it. It's a wonderful thing to do, and many of our students who take part, they really, really enjoy being a volunteer. It's lots of fun. So that's their pre-orientation. And then on orientation day, again, this information is going to be sent via email. There's going to be a self-guided Moodle welcome and orientation. This is usually between 9 and 12. And they'll get the email in the morning with details on how to access the links. There's a meet and greet between 1 and 2 p.m. And this is where your child gets to meet members of our academic team and our student services support team, the accommodation team, and our engagement team. So they get to meet a wide variety of people who work at UNSW Global and who will be supporting them throughout their studies. Okay, and in their first week, there will be some additional activities. Again, this is all going to be emailed out to your child. If they're not getting these emails, please get in touch with our inquiries team. So the Successful Student Essentials Seminar. So this is where students can reflect on all of the orientation information we've given them and use it to create their own framework for academic and welfare success. There's also a drop-in session with student services and IT. This is optional, and it's if they have any questions or if they've experienced any maybe technical issues in their first week, join this session and our IT team will help them clarify everything. And again, more activities and engagement, socials. It will tell them all about all the opportunities and activities that are coming up. Okay, that is everything for today. I hope you found the session useful. We will be having a meet and greet, a live session later on. You will have received email and information about that. And I will be joined at that session by my colleague, Nicole, and we will be answering any questions which you may have. So thank you for your time, and we will talk to you later.